everybody. Let the sauce begin. Alright, here we are with part 10 of the Miniart GAZ AAA cargo truck. And with this episode, I hope to come to the completion of this vehicle and then move on to some final weathering. Here I'm working with the metal parts that come with the kit that are for the corner of the cargo box, and I'm going to use this stuff from AK. I'm not really sure how useful this stuff is in a way, because I find that it rubs off quite easily, and I'm also wondering about paint adhesion. If you have this sort of dusty layer of oxidized metal in between the paint and the surface of the metal, wonder how it affects the adhesion of the paint. These are the other little plastic bits that have to go on. Also, I'm going to be dealing with the door inner handles and get those done. The GAZ AAA truck holds a significant place in automotive history as one of the most iconic and successful Soviet-era trucks. It was produced by the Gorky automobile plant in the Soviet Union from the late 1930s until the early 1950s. The GAZ AAA played a crucial role during World War II and became a symbol of Soviet industrial might and resilience. The development of the GAZ AAA can be traced back to the mid-1930s, when the Soviet Union recognized the need for a robust and versatile military truck. The Gorky automobile plant, led by the renowned Soviet engineer Valentin Rostkov, took up the challenge and started designing a suitable vehicle. The GAZ AAA was based on a modified version of the American Ford AA truck, which the Soviet Union had obtained through a licensing agreement with the Ford Motor Company in the late 1920s. The design incorporated various improvements and adjustments to meet the specific requirements of the Soviet military and industrial needs. Production of the GAZ AAA began in 1934, and the truck quickly gained popularity due to its durability, reliability, and adaptability. It featured the 4x2 drivetrain, solid axles, leaf spring suspension, and a sturdy chassis. The engine was a 3.3-liter inline six, producing around 50 horsepower, which allowed the truck to reach a top speed of about 55 miles per hour. That's 90 kilometers per hour in metric. The next part of this process is applying the decals that come with the kit. So because this is Tamiya paint that's on the surface of these doors, I was a little concerned that maybe there might be a little bit of water staining, because I'm not going to clear coat it at all. So I'm cutting the decals as close as possible to their edges, just so the only thing that's really showing is the decal itself, no carrier film whatsoever. So I'm just going to dip them in some water and let them sit for a few seconds, and then come back and apply them according to the instructions. One of them actually split quite easily, so just be careful with how you're handling them when you go to apply them. I'm going to use this decal solution set that comes from Microsol, and not that there's a lot of surface here to adhere to. with these stars, I think I'm going to just paint them. So I'm going to take them into the computer and do a little bit of work in Silhouette and then cut them out with my Silhouette 4 cutter. Here I'm just cleaning up a couple of the side windows. Here I'm just kind of cleaning up any of the water staining that was going on. Just a bit of water on a Q-tip. I think at this point I decided that I was going to trim down the plastic windows just to give it a little bit of life. So basically I'm putting it on this tape so that I can have better control over how I'm holding it without scratching things. And I'm basically just making light cuts with the scalpel, not trying to cut all at once. In the end, I never really used these ones from the kit because I found that they were too thick. So I ended up cutting some of my own, and you'll see that later on. During World War II, the GAZ AAA played a vital role in the Soviet war effort. It served as a workhorse on the Eastern Front, transporting troops, supplies, and heavy artillery. The truck's robust construction and off-road capabilities made it suitable for various terrains, including rough roads and unpaved surfaces. In addition to its military applications, the GAZ AAA was also used for civilian purposes. It served as a cargo truck, a platform for mounting anti-aircraft guns, a mobile workshop, and an ambulance. Its versatility made it an indispensable asset for both the military and civilian sectors. So with those things on there, now I can maybe take a little side detour and work on the horn. So I've got the horn all together, but you'll notice on the bell there's a little bit of a flash on there, so I'll have to tidy that up a little with a little bit of sanding. All right, so moving on to the Soviet red stars. First thing I do is I'm going to scan the decal, and it is pronounced decal. And I scan it at 300 dpi because that seems to be the exact transfer when you take it into silhouette. So when you cut the piece in silhouette, it is the same scale as what you put in. So I've scanned the decal and I'm going to bring it into the silhouette program, and then I'm just going to use some of the tools and trace it around there. So once that's done, I'll take it and make copies of it and then send it off to get cut in the silhouette machine. Like anything, it's often very good to make a test of what your settings are, and that's what I'm doing here. Just a quick little test to see if it'll cut properly. Well, since that test looked okay, it's time for the real deal now. I've compressed the actual time this takes by speeding up the video and making several edits. So I kind of goofed up. I should have actually put down the red star first, because now when I go to put this vinyl on top, it's going to take the decal off. Then I made another mistake because I used a post-it note to cover the decal, and I didn't think it would be strong enough to lift the decal off, but it actually was. So here I am, I'm just removing the other one because there's no point if just one door has it. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to fix that problem. So in the meantime, I'm going to try using the silhouette machine to cut a stencil for the markings that are on the back of the cargo box. But to do that, I want to put the decal onto some plastic that I've painted black, just so I can get a clear definition of the outline of the numbers. Because as you can see, the white on the blue is really hard to see. The reason I wanted to do this is because I wanted to see if I could use the tracing feature that is in the Silhouette software, but often that really doesn't work and you have to end up drawing the lines yourself, which is what I ended up doing with this, as you'll see. And what I'm doing here is I'm scanning it in and then taking it into the Silhouette software, and then I'm going to try using the tracing tool, but it just doesn't work. So I ended up having to draw the outline of the numbers and letters.
1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we come up from the gutter, the wrong side of the tracks. Yeah, we come up from the gutter, wrong side of the tracks. You know the music brought us out, babe, and we ain't never been back. 'Cause we went city to city, all around the world. Yes, we went city to city, all around the world. You know it never looked like enough, honey, even after 30 years. 'Cause we come blazing like a shooting star, and we light you up real good. We come blazing like a shooting star, and we light you up real good. We're gonna hit you like a flash of lightning, just like a bad boy would. Make your name. That's missing is a little mouth harp blues. Mouth harp blues. You know the only thing that's missing is a little mouth harp blues. That's how we do it. And you know life's full of surprises. You know we do that too. Oh yeah. Come on. but we are satisfied.
Yeah, so one of the things I find frustrating with working in the models, for example, I just spent about an hour, 2 hours trying to get something that would work for this. And, you know, if I struggled with it a little bit longer, I probably could get it to work. But in the final analysis, I never even needed to go down that road. But, like, for example, there's no way I was going to get that small thing. So I could have maybe taken that scan that I took of the decal sheet, and then I could maybe print out my own. But, you know, you can see here how it's not exactly great, right? So I don't know how the fidelity of the numbers would be, although they look pretty good here. But, and you could maybe coat this with a flat so it wouldn't beat up as much. But in the end, because I do have other models of this kit, like different versions, this is the one from 1940. This is a version from 1940, and you know what? It's got the exact same decals in some ways right here. So yeah, I can just use these decals. I could have saved myself about 2 hours worth of struggle, but in the end, there you go. So now I've got to try and find the right location for this star. And I've actually got a useful lining up tool with the shadow of the failed decal above it there. Yeah, it takes a few tries to get it right. So this time I'm just going to use some masking tape and put it underneath the vinyl stencil, just to protect the window. This is just some Tamiya red that I'm spraying on. I could have sprayed some white first to get a really strong red, but in the end I think this looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So here I'm just doing a quick little test fit. See how the doors fit into the space, and it looks pretty good. I ended up having some trouble later when I tried to put them in permanently, but we'll come to that. Before cutting these decals out, I decided to change the blade so that it was nice and sharp. Here I'm using a little Mr. Mark softener just to see if I can get it to suck down into the wood grain nicely. massaging it in a little bit gently. All right, with the door decals all dried and set, I'm going to have to do a little misting of a flat coat just to bring them into the realm of the Tamiya paint. So masking off the plastic windows, I'm going to use some of this. This here is what I'm going to use maybe for the door handles. Paint them a metal color. So when I fit these doors and the roof, I should have really have taken more time to dry fit everything and sand areas that maybe in the end needed sanding, because once everything was in place here, there was some pretty awful gaps. I mean, maybe somebody else could have lived with it, but I couldn't. So I ended up taking them out, ripping them off, and pre-preparing the surfaces so that the gaps would be minimal and I would be happy once more. I ended up having a real problem with the roof, which is probably due to something I did wrong. But to make it fit, I ended up having to sand that front ledge a bit. Also, the glass that's in the front, I decided to replace with the one that comes with the kit after I polished it up a bit, because I just thought maybe this one was a bit too worn looking. But you can see here I'm having to sand the top of that, and I don't know if you really need to do it if everything was maybe properly made. I don't know. After the war, production of the GAZ AAA continued, and the truck underwent several updates and modifications. The most notable change was the introduction of a more powerful 3.5-liter engine in the late 1940s, which increased the vehicle's performance. Over the years, the GAZ AAA gained a reputation for its ruggedness and reliability, earning it the nickname Polorka, meaning 1.5 in Russian, due to its payload capacity of 1.5 tons. The truck became an enduring symbol of Soviet industry and resilience, embodying the spirit of the Soviet people during challenging times. By the early 1950s, the GAZ AAA was gradually phased out of production as newer and more advanced truck models emerged. However, its legacy lived on, and many units remained in service for several more decades. Today, the GAZ AAA is considered a classic and highly collectible vehicle, sought after by enthusiasts and collectors worldwide. Its historical significance, iconic design, and association with the Soviet Union's wartime efforts have ensured its place in automotive history. So here I am, I'm using my Fordham tool to maybe dig out a little bit on this front part of the roof. So using a file and then later a sanding stick, I made sure that the surfaces of the door and the door frame mated very well without any gaps.
Темная ночь, только пули свистят по степи, только ветер гудит провода, тускло звезды мерцают. Темную ночь, ты, любимая, знаю, не спишь, и у детской кровати тайком ты слезу утираешь. Как я люблю глубину твоих ласковых глаз, как я хочу к ним прижаться сейчас губами. Темная ночь разделяет, любимая, нас, и тревожная черная степь пролегла между нами. Верю в тебя, дорогую подругу мою, эта вера от пули меня темной ночью хранила. Радостно мне, я спокоен в смертельном бою, знаю, встретишь с любовью меня, чтоб со мной не случилось. Смерть не страшна, с ней встречались не раз мы в степи. Вот и теперь надо мною она кружится. Ты меня ждешь, и у детской кровати не спишь, и поэтому знаю, со мной ничего не случится.
So I painted the inside of the window frame with a off black to give it a little bit more character. So yeah, you can see here where I've replaced the front window with the one that comes with the kit after I polished it up. And I'm using a Future to glue it in place. So because I goofed up on the first set of engine door panels here, I've decided to use the set from another kit that I've got because I've got a photo etch set coming for that kit, so I won't need to use them there. So I'm going to use a fresh panel and it'll look great. Here you can see it's now in place. Also the roof is in place, but it's just not as flush as I would like it. So I'm using some CA glue here to fill it, and then I'm going to come back and sand it so that it's nice and smooth. And then I'll add a strip of evergreen to give it that little strip there. You can see from this shot that I've also replaced the side windows, as you can notice how much thinner that plastic is than the windows that come with the kit. So once everything is nice and smooth and flush, I'll be taking some Mr. Surfacer 1500 black to it, and then on top of that I'll paint the Tamiya green color.
Right there.
So there you go. That's all in place. Now I just got to paint that and it'll look great. So it looks pretty good after priming, but I think I'm going to take a 3M pad and just give it a nice polishing before I put the top coat on. So I'm going to add a little bit of this. These ones here. Gotta do these ones here. headlights and horn got a coat of silver, and then I took some shiny black to everything. Unfortunately, I don't have too much footage of attaching these headlight pieces because it was one of those things where I just couldn't do it on camera very easily. The attachment points are just basically a butt joint, and I'm working with the glue and gravity here to make the bond for this. As you can see, it's pretty precarious. In the end, I managed to get it sorted out and everything in place. And that concludes part 10 of our exciting video series on the GAZ AAA from Miniart. We've delved deep into the assembly process, explored the intricate details, and witnessed the incredible realism of this scale model. From the chassis to the engine, every step has been a rewarding, if somewhat frustrating, journey. As they say, live and learn. In our next installment, Part 11, we'll take a closer look at the painting techniques and weathering effects that will truly bring this GAZ AAA to life. I will also give a summation of my thoughts about the kit and how it all went together. So stay tuned and join us as we continue our exploration of this remarkable miniature. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments below. Your support and engagement mean the world to me as I continue sharing my passion for scale modeling. Until next time, happy modeling, and in the meantime, and in between time, that's another edition of Jet Scale Models.